Shalom. All praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to Akim, teaching all truth and sincerity. Salaki. This is the so-called. This is a second part of the lesson. The so-called white man who is Esau. Queendom has fallen. Part 2. This is Habakkuk chapter 1, verse I'm started at verse 5. Behold ye among the heathen, regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days which ye will not believe, though it be told you. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the the brightest of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. So this is talking about the so-called white man, who are the modern day Egyptians and the modern day Chaldeans. They go across lands conquering, because they're about, I think they're about over 800 military bases on in other, like all around the world. Because like when the so-called white man military goes to a certain area, they don't leave, they stay. Like they're in Iraq right now, they're in Afghanistan, they're still in Korea, they're still in the Philippines, they're still in they're still in I, they're still in these other countries. They still got military bases in other country. They go and dwell in places that are not theirs. That's what the so-called white man does. He goes, he conquers a land, or he goes and he set up shop in a land that's not his. And that's where he goes and possess dwelling places that are not his. They go and put their military in places that they don't belong to be in. And that's how they stay where they stay. They stay in a land. They go possess places that are not theirs. Salaki. I was going off what but anyway, the point is, they, with the scripture, they go, their military goes, um once it stepped foot on a land, like once they stepped foot in Afghanistan, they never left. Once they stepped foot in Iraq, they never left. Once they stepped foot in Korea, they never left. Once they step foot in a land, they never leave. So that's how you have like 800, about 800 military bases all over the world. About, like, they planted their military basically branching out a basically all over the entire earth, basically, almost. Except I don't think they have a military base in Antarctica, but I believe they have one in Europe and Asia and other islands. Um, so my next scripture is Ezekiel. Um, I don't want to be too long on here. Hold on. Ezekiel uh 35 verse 1. I'm starting verse 1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And Mount Seir is Esau, who's so-called white man. And also they call Mount Seir Petra today. They call it Petra today, but it's really, actually, that's Mount Seir. They call it Petra today. I'm prove that the so-called white man is Mount Seir. Go to Joshua 24, started verse 3. Joshua 24 and 3. And I told your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, And Slakia, Joshua 24:3. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. And I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau, and I gave unto Esau Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. So it says right here in Joshua 24:4, it says, I gave unto Esau Mount Seir. So Mount Seir was Esau's dwelling place. And so that's where Esau and his children dwelt, in Mount Seir. And uh that's why he's called Mount Seir, because he dwelt in that them caves over there. My last scripture is Obadiah 1. I'm gonna start at verse 10. This is Obadiah 1 verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the stranger came away captive his forces, carried away captive his forces, and foreigners enter into his gates, cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. But thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother, and the day that he became a stranger. Neither shalt thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shalt thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. This is this is talking about um I keep thinking of like 70 AD, when Israel when the Israel was ransacked by the Romans. But it also can go with the time when cuz the Romans took our people down, or kicked us out the land of Israel in 70 AD. We had to flee to to the uh the west coast of Africa, uh, to, from Roman persecution, because they were um, trying to take us down in 70 AD, and enslave us. And they 1 million Jews had fled to the west coast of Africa, and they caught some of us and became gladiators, and fought in the Roman Colosseums, because that's the true gladiators of Rome, were the Jakes. They were the Israelites, were the true gladiators of Rome. You know, they write stories about the real gladiators of Rome, and those were Jakes. Those were not Edomites. Those are actually Jakes that were real gladiators, because they fought in the Colosseums, and we fought valiantly in the Colosseums. The ones that got caught in the time during 70 AD, during that time period. They got caught and they were put enslavement by the Romans, but some got caught and were crucified and killed. But 1 million Jews fled into on the west coast of Africa, fled from Roman persecution. Um, I'm gonna read 1 and 13 again. Obadiah 1 and 13. Thou shalt not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of calamity. They ransacked the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD, and took kicked us out of the land, destroyed our temple, destroyed our and took our substance, took our gold and our goodly pleasant things out of our land, and put it and took it with them to their lands, and took our substance. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall be upon thy own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, they shall swallow down, they shall be as thou they had not Slaki, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall be not be any, they shall not be any remain in the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. So for basically for Yahweh, for Esau's violence, for Esau's vicious captivity towards vicious, brutish captivity towards his brother Jacob, the enslavement of the brutish enslavement of his brother Jacob, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. After 1,000 years of a brutal double captivity, like after 1,000 years of getting his ass whooped by the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Esau, the so-called white man, is gonna be gathered up and burnt to a crisp. That's how he's gonna be taken out by slaughter and burnt to a crisp, and it's not gonna be any remaining of the house of Esau, and that's also a part of his enslavement, but it's also part of his kingdom going down because he's going into slavery, and this place is going to be burned up by thermonuclear destruction. This place is going to be completely annihilated off the face of the earth. So anyway, I'm going to say all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashin Yahshua, double honors to Elder Apostle Great Millstone, and salutations to you. I can teach all truth and sincerity. I'm going to say shalom.